Hello Beach Class, this is where we left off yesterday. We have the choice of checking in with your family, page 64, or going to take one of the sailboats out to the island on page 39. It was very close, but just winning was page 39, so let's turn to page 39 and get started. You've decided to take out one of the resort's small sailing boats. You are keen to get out to the small island. You figure it is an ideal place to find pirate treasure. Sailing is something you've enjoyed for quite a few years. Your local Sea Scouts group has regular lessons for cadets your age. You're not the best sailor in the corps, but you are quite handy around small boats as long as the wind isn't blowing too hard. A staff member from the resort gives you a life jacket and a quick rundown on how to operate the boat's sail and tiller. The dinghy has a reasonably short mast and single sail, similar to the ones you've handled before. Rather than having a keel like bigger boats, the dinghy has a centreboard that you drop down through a slot to the bottom of the boat. It acts like a reel and helps keep the boat running in a straight line when you are sailing. You place your pack into the waterproof compartment under the seat with the flares, spare rope and tiny anchor. Push the boat out into the shallows and climb aboard. After dropping the centreboard and raising the sail, you settle down and turn the boat so the wind fills the sails. Instantly, the breeze pushes you along through the water. You keep close to the shore at first to get used to the boat's handling before heading out further into the bay. You find the dinghy reasonably stable and easy to sail. The wind is light and the waves are small. As long as you remember to duck when the boom swings around when tacking or jibbing, it's pretty hard to make a mistake. After a couple of trial runs back and forth along the beach, you point the boat towards the little island off the coast of the fortress. The onshore wind is the perfect angle for you to make it without having to do much tacking. As you sail, the boat tilts with the wind and you hear the water rushing along the hull. A cheeky seagull comes to investigate the boat, and then he sits looking at you with his beady orange and black eyes from the stem of the boat. You can smell the bird's fish breath from your position by the tiller, but it's nice to have some crew along for the ride. "Ahoy, ahoy," you say to the gull. "Now don't be pooping on the poop deck, me hearty." The seagull turns its head sideways and gives you a look as if to say, "Aye, aye, skipper," and then swivels its tail feathers over the side and drops a big white splat into the water. A moment later it squawks once and takes off to rejoin the other gulls fishing out towards the sand spit. As you near the island, you get a good look at the fortress from the water. The cannon barrels pointing your direction make you nervous, even though you know they're old and rusty. You can imagine how vulnerable those approaching the fortress from the sea must have felt many years ago. Your sailing instructor taught you how to check things out before landing your boat on an unknown beach in case there are hidden rocks, and there aren't obvious at first. The island isn't that big, so after making a quick pass of the beach, you decide to sail all the way round before landing on the tiny strip of sand. The water is crystal clear. Even though it's quite deep, you can still see the bottom. The reef around the island is full of colourful fish. You tack and turn to starboard, ready to sail counterclockwise around the island. When you reach the southernmost end of the island, you tack back. It's amazing how different the island is on the seaward side. It is steep and rocky with vertical cliffs. They aren't as big as the cliffs on the mainland, but they still tower over the mast of your little boat. Nesting in holes and cracks in the cliff are thousands of seabirds. As you sail closer, the noise from the seabirds become louder and louder. Some of the bolder birds dive bomb your boat in an attempt to scare you away. Further round past the cliffs, you see the wreckage of a ship on the rocky shore. The wreck looks like it's been there a long time. Before you know it, you're back where you started, having completed your circumnavigation of the island. You line up for your run onto the sandy strip of beach. Landing will be tricky. You will need to pull the centreboard up out of its slot so it doesn't dig into the sand, and drop the sail at just the right time. Drop the sail too early and you won't have enough speed to reach the beach. Too late and you'll hit the beach hard and risk damaging yourself or the boat. You are pleased you've done similar manoeuvres a few times at home. After judging the speed of the boat and the depth of the water, you get ready to lift the centreboard and tuck the halyard holding up the sail under your leg for quick access. 3, 2, 1. You count down. Just as the water shallows, you pull up the centreboard and drop the sail. The boat's momentum carries it onto the beach, and the bow eases gently into the soft white sand. You hop over the sides into knee-deep water and grab one side of the boat. With your feet digging into the sand, you drag the dinghy as far as you can up the beach and away to keep it from floating away. Then you take the bow line and loop the rope twice around a sturdy palm tree on the edge of the jungle before tying it off. Happy the landing has gone so well, you put your hands on your hips and survey your surroundings. The beach is small, only 20 paces wide. Lush green foliage grows right down to its edge. One end of the beach leads onto the rocks that go halfway round the island towards the shipwreck. At the other end of the beach, the steep cliffs begin. Inland, there seems to be 2 hills of similar height, with a gully running between them to the top of the island. You are keen to explore the island further and wonder which way you should go. It is time for you to decide. Do you walk around the rocks to where you saw the remains of a shipwreck on page 65, or do you go inland and explore the island on page 67? It's time for you to choose. Let me know on Class Dojo.